Hello and welcome back to NHB Retro. I'm out in the garage today, taking sort of a first look at this pretty interesting old Franklin computer. Um, as you can see, I'll bring you in for a closer look at this later, but it's badged as a Franklin Ace 1000 Plus. Um, I was not familiar with this offshoot of the Franklin Ace 1000 line until I saw this computer. So I'm not really 100% sure about exactly when and how these were made. I know that you could, at some point, at least according to the manuals, I know you could get a 1200 with only one drive, which would essentially be this computer. And of course, internally, they're all pretty much identical Ace 1000 motherboards in the Ace 1000, Ace 1000 Plus, and the Ace 1200. Though there are versions of those as well. But yeah, anyway, this one's out in the garage today. I plan to tear it down. I know it's not in the best of shape. I've taken a peek inside. Yeah, it may be beyond saving inside. It looks like there has been some moisture. But anyway, let's get it torn apart, and then we'll talk about that later. And I have a couple of game plans going forward. So let's get it taken apart. Here is a close-up of that badge, by the way. As you can see, it's not in the best of shape. Depending on how the rest of this goes, I may consider trying to repaint this in some way or otherwise clean it up. I don't know, but anyway, that's the condition of the badge right now. Okay, if you're not familiar with the Franklin Ace 1000 series cases, they're all held together like this in the back. They've just got these clips, which always make me nervous. I don't want one of those to snap off, but you just basically have to pull them back a little bit, and then the top pops right off. So let's get the top off. Alrighty, I'm gonna see if I can do this from the other side here so you guys can get a better view. These Franklin computers that have the disk drives in a little cabinet up top, you need to be careful because obviously those disk drives are connected. So these just pop up, slides out of a little lip in front. And you just flip it over. Some of these Franklins have the controller integrated into the motherboard, like this one. I have Franklins of various configurations that have that, either this version with the controller on the motherboard, or ones that have an actual controller card in there instead. This is a little snug. Okay, we're going to set the drives aside and take a look inside. Okay, here we go, looking at the inside. First thing that I notice is that it has a little paddle connector adapter that goes out here. It's very corroded on the end, which is kind of setting the stage for some of the rest of this. I'm not sure if this will show up very well, but there is some corrosion happening here on the power supply. The motherboard looks good. It's dusty, and unfortunately, as you can see, like on the pins of this chip here, or really, pick one, there's a lot of rust on the pins, which in my experience, that's a bad thing. Okay, so let's just get the motherboard, the power supply, and the case all separated into their constituent pieces. Okay, let's go ahead and get the power supply out. You may have noticed I disconnected it already. Let's do that first. Incidentally, the reason that I have this out here in the garage instead of figuring out a spot to do it in the house is just how dirty this thing is. There's I know you can't see it or hear it, but there's little dirt and sand and whatever just like falling out of this thing everywhere as I flip it over. Okay, so yeah, the backside is not awesome looking. The feet are pretty deteriorated. This one's way gone. This one's completely gone. I have new ones of those, not to worry. But yeah, again, we're seeing some rust and signs of Certainly all the screw heads are rusty. But anyway, let's get them all out of there and get the case off. Okay, power supply, just like on any Apple clone. Very simple. Well, I should say many Apple clones. It's quite the variety. Let me see if I can turn this for you. Okay, so we've just got 4 screws. This one is the, in my experience, there are 2 types of Franklin power supplies in these Ace 1000s. There are shorter ones like this one, and then there are longer ones, and you can see the 2 sets of forward mounting holes for that here. Ugh, boy, these screws are crusty. I'm trying to keep the screws organized. We'll see how that goes. This one at least has all its screws. Oh boy, that's in there. All right, power supply. Oh yeah, okay. Significant rust, as we can see here. This definitely got exposed to the elements. So, okay, let's continue looking at the power supply. All right, yeah, pretty cruddy. Lots of active orange rust there. So let's get, obviously this is going to be something we have to deal with. Let's get it taken apart real quick and just see what we're actually dealing with. Okay, so these Franklin power supplies are pretty simple to take apart. We've got 4 screws of the most evil variety of flathead screws. Okay, let's just get these out of here. All right, I'm gonna get the rest of these screws out and I'll bring you back. All right, we've got the screws out. Just again, yeah, remarkably rusty on the outside. Okay, let's see what we got going on in here. I'm just gonna leave this grommet on here for now. It seems to have hardened up with age. Okay, so the first thing I notice is that the PCB is loose. It's supposed to be held down with these clips. Okay, so that's clearly not good. Let's see, is there a REFA in here? I do not see a REFA. And these other capacitors look reasonable, and I don't see that corrosion carrying over into in here. So, okay, so that's some good signs. I'm going to go ahead and take this the rest of the way out. I'm going to figure out why this is loose. But anyway, good sign on the power supply. Okay, let's see if we can go ahead and get the motherboard out. Well, first of all, disconnect the speaker. And the reset button, which is separate on the Franklin. Okay. And so now it's just a matter of a bunch of screws and we'll get the motherboard out. And with the motherboard free, let's just pop that off really quick and take a look at the base plate. Okay, it's really dirty. Of course, this is an aluminum base plate, so this rust you see is actually from the steel on the power supply lid. There's no corrosion to speak of, I mean, other than just being really old. Over here, there's a bunch of dirt here that probably fell in through the keyboard. Let me just get this out of the way here real quick. Knock off all the dust. We'll just put the motherboard back here. All right. Well, yeah, it looks pretty clean. Maybe a little bit of, well, let me bring you in closer here and we'll take a look at the back. Okay, and here's that Franklin motherboard, the back of it. I'm not really seeing much. I mean, there's a little bit of some kind of residue in a few places, but nothing I'd call heavy corrosion at all. Yeah, honestly, it looks really good. Now, as you'll see, this is the stuff that I was afraid of when I first saw this computer. Let's flip it over to the front and get more of a look at that. So, yeah, I mean, obviously this piece more or less hangs out into the outside world, so it got rusty, but I think that's just indicative of the kind of conditions this is in. Not terrible. You can see some rust is going on here. Let me take you around to the other side again. Not sure what to make of this. Maybe leaky caps here. Obviously, those are easy to replace. I'll take a closer look at that in a bit. Yeah, other than being a little bit filthy, this is way better than I expected. Now, the issue that I pointed out earlier, though, I think could be a killer, and that is this. Oftentimes when you see this kind of rust on the legs that goes all the way up to the chip body, that's a really bad sign. If any of that moisture makes it into the chip itself, of course it's going to stop. Okay, we're missing a chip here. I see. Oh, that's the keyboard, right? That is the keyboard. Okay, so yeah, all in all, let's take a look down here as well. Maybe also leaky capacitors here, I guess. I don't know. I'll be looking at that when I'll do a whole separate video about this motherboard and what kind of solution we come up with. I have an alternate solution if this motherboard isn't good, but it sure looks, I mean, other than a few concerning things, it looks really good. So yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, let's take a look at the keyboard really quick as well. Okay, last major bit to come out is the keyboard, and just before we get it out, just wanted to point out some more signs of rust. I think it's pretty good over here. Yeah, just really the screw heads. Again, circuit board looks good. Ribbon cable looks good. I feel like I'm constantly damaging the pins on the ends of Apple II ribbon cables. Anyway, let's get this taken the rest of the way out and we'll look more at this corrosion. Okay, keyboard should be loose now. I think maybe a power LED or something. I'll just be careful again. Yeah. Power LED. Let's see, is that a connector? Not sure if that's a connector. I will look more at that. Anyway, yeah, keyboard looks pretty good. Let me rearrange and we'll get you a better look. Okay, and finally we have the keyboard fully out of the machine. Looks pretty good to me. I mean, it looks clean. The keys feel nice. let's take a look at this corrosion here really quick. Yeah, this plate obviously is made out of steel, has started to corrode, so we'll take a more look at that when we get this thing apart fully. But otherwise it looks pretty good. I'm assuming I'm going to need to do a foil pad replacement. I have the supplies for that from good old Texelec ready to go. So I'm not sure if I'll do a full video about this keyboard unless something more interesting comes up. But yeah, there's the keyboard ready to be worked on. Okay guys, and with the Franklin Ace 1000 Plus all taken apart, I'm going to call it there for this video. This is just the first look. I think the next video on this series will be addressing the power supply. Just a quick spoiler alert, I did put power to it, and it looks like the 12 volt rails plus and minus 12 volt are not happy. So yeah, that'll be the next video. And then I'm not sure, again, I don't know if I'll do a full video about the keyboard because it's probably very straightforward. And then maybe just some case cleanup, and we have to address the motherboard. So all of that coming up, look forward to it. Hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you on the next one.